would like to get us started because this is absolutely one of the things I look forward to every year. And I am telling you, last night around 4 o'clock in the morning, which would be, I guess, this morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, I was so ready, Eva. So thank you. I would like to introduce one of our perennial and best beloved presenters, Miss Eva, going by a different last name on screen, Conroy. And yes, I agree. Oh my, I love you. Mindful meditation, manage stress more successfully or skillfully through relaxed meditation. What better way to wind down after an exciting day of community engagement than chilling with Eva? This meditation workshop is an annual favorite. You'll enjoy it too. So I will leave it. Did I make you co? You don't just, yeah, there you go.
I don't need to,
Oh,
I didn't do
you didn't do a prezo?
no,
Okay.
no, no.
I'm going to turn
You're
off my
supposed to.
screen and enjoy you.
I'm just talking. And yeah. Shall I start?
Yes, please.
Good time? Okay. So hello everybody. Just really great to be here with you. And for those of you who don't know me, yes, my name is Ewa, and I'm using my Polish maiden name, Marciszkiewicz, in honor of Rafał and Iwona, who are here, and my dual citizenship that is in the works to go back to my mother country. Anyway, that's just a personal thing. So I'm a woman in recovery from alcohol use disorder. I've been with LifeRing since like 2000, just through email. That was sort of my exploratory time. But in 2015, I got more focused on sobriety and recovery, and LifeRing's always been my primary support. Although I've also done 12 steps, SMART, Little Refuge Recovery, but LifeRing is always my home. It's my home away from home. It's where I feel the most free to be myself and to create the life I envision in recovery. So one of the things that people know that I did in 2015 when I got sober is I took an immensely helpful 8-week course called Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction. As I said, it was immensely helpful to me in managing stress more skillfully and in recovery. In fact, it was more than helpful. It was transformative, and I've been deepening my practice ever since then. Became certified as an MBSR instructor last spring through Brown University, and I've been practicing with folks in LifeRing for like 3 years or so now, which I just so appreciate and am grateful for. Now, mindfulness and meditation are practices that have been around for thousands of years, dating back to about 4000 BC. The practice arose from Buddhist and Hindu traditions, and a few key figures introduced the practice to those of us in the Western world. Much of that went on in the 60s and 70s. Many of you may know all this because mindfulness has really become kind of a mainstream sort of thing now. Back then, it was definitely seen as fringe and kind of woo-woo. So John Kabat-Zinn was really a key figure in bringing meditation, mindfulness meditation to us and to where it is today. He was working on his PhD in molecular biology at MIT here in Boston back in the 1970s. He was introduced to mindfulness meditation by a Zen missionary who came to speak at MIT. I guess it was transformative for him, just that one lecture. And he wanted to make the benefits of mindfulness more accessible to a Western audience. So he adapted them with a less spiritual emphasis than the traditional Buddhist practice for clinical settings and personal use. And which I think is just wonderful because I really was always interested in meditation, mindfulness, but never really wanted to pursue becoming something else like a Buddhist, or not that Buddhism really is a religion or anything, but I just didn't want another I just wanted to learn what was there and not have to commit to something deeper than I was prepared to. Um, so a great deal of research has been done on mindfulness since that time, lots and lots of research, and the benefits of the practice have really become mainstream. And you can see it even today. People are talking about mindfulness, mindful, mindful. I hear it in the meetings, and so it's really interesting and I think beneficial. So from stress reduction and emotional regulation to improvements in impulsivity and self-awareness, there's a lot of benefits to establishing a mindfulness practice. Now, mindfulness is not confined to a formal meditation practice alone. You don't have to just sit there in a lotus position and meditate. Many people just can't sit, especially in early recovery, and those of us who have ADHD and any kind of other reasons, people quite often can be really turned off by the idea of that. I wouldn't do it because I thought I had to sit in the lotus position. I thought I had to be something I'm not in order to carry it out. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked, but so you can do walking meditation, and mindfulness can be integrated into everyday activities such as eating. That's a perfect time to be mindful. You'll eat less. Walking meditation, communication, mindful listening, which is the biggest challenge for me. Mindful communication is hugely challenging for me. Um, so it's something you can drop into for a minute here, for 5 minutes there, and it can be incredibly helpful. So today, I was going to do my usual little talk about meditation, mindfulness, and recovery and life ring. But I was just so wowed by the discussion of self-care and cultivating self-compassion. We touched on shame, some of my very favorite topics. So while we were talking and while I was listening, I kind of reworked my thing here. So I wanted to incorporate those themes a little bit today. So forgive me, it's a little on the fly. So although we use the word mindfulness, it's really more about heartfulness. And although we're observing our mind when we're engaging in mindfulness and becoming intimately familiar with our thought patterns, what we're doing also is getting out of the mind and into the body. And in MBSR or in mindfulness, there's a huge emphasis on mindful movement. And you don't have to call it yoga. It doesn't have to be anything special, but it is something very important to be in the body, moving your body and paying attention to the sensations in the body. And then along with the sensations in the body, with paying attention to the thoughts and feelings that come up in tandem. So a lot of when you're getting into mindfulness, there's a big emphasis on doing body scans for a while. I think it was like 3 weeks of a daily body scan for an hour, which was really hard for me because I was so disconnected from my body. But with time, I came to understand the wisdom of doing that sort of intensive. Um, because, when it comes to mindfulness and how it works for us in recovery, it's that building, that cultivating that self-awareness, that things are starting to build up maybe in our bodies before our minds really register that there's stuff building up. And I like to talk about this because this was a huge thing for me. I really had a lot of problems with relapsing. I hate that word, but I did. And I think part of it was that I wasn't 100% committed, ambivalence. But a lot of it was that I have a lot of self-talk that I wasn't aware of the depth and cruelty of my background talking. And I could shame myself into a relapse without even realizing it until 3 days later, waking up, feeling, not really ever being able to pinpoint a trigger. There's no trigger. Nothing happened, and really after all these years of diving into mindfulness, it's been 10 years that I've been practicing, not always formally, sometimes just paying attention for a few moments, checking in. Um, But that for me was the big value for me is becoming intimate with what's happening inside, um, so that I can attend to myself, so that I can do some self-care, so that I can be aware. So anyway, the definition of mindfulness is the awareness that arises from paying attention on purpose in the present moment and without judgment, which I like to say, like sobriety or recovery, it is really simple, but not easy. It's really simple to pay attention. You just pay attention, but it's it's not really easy to continue to pay attention. We're very distractible people, human beings, our minds. Um, and same as recovery. It's so simple. Just don't pick up a drink. Don't pick up whatever substance it is. Yeah, simple. But it is so not easy. So anyway, as we go down the road of any formal mindfulness meditation practice, it becomes evident that inherent in our human nature is the mind's need to judge and criticize. Some of us are more naturally talented at this than others. The sad reality is that most of us actually criticize ourselves more than other people. This was certainly true for me. I can make an excuse for just about anyone. There's probably only one person in the world that I won't make excuses for, but I won't get into that. Um, but that is true. You can hear the voices during your practice, like if you're doing a mindfulness practice. I'm not doing this right. Others are getting it, but I just can't do it. I'm so bad at meditation. I can't sit still. I'm thinking all the time. I don't know, our brains do this in some twisted effort to help us figure things out or prepare for some disaster. But rarely, if ever, does this self-criticism, self-judging have any beneficial effects. In fact, it usually has the opposite effect, like a slowly leaking toxin in our minds and bodies, this self-criticism, self-judging, this shaming. So it's worth being curious about how the mental event of criticizing ourselves affects us. Consider for a moment any recent experience in which you maybe had the impulse to criticize yourself. Maybe take a moment and see if you can recall the event. Who was there? What was happening? And then what happened that ignited the judgment? And if you can come up with something, see if you can get in touch with the emotion behind the judgment. Is there a feeling of any kind of shame, sadness, irritation, or maybe tiredness, hunger? Usually the urge to criticize ourselves arises out of some uncomfortable emotion we're experiencing in the moment. And it's as if the mind's strategy is to use criticizing to get away from what's uncomfortable. So bringing mindfulness to the memory can help you become more aware of the cycle of reactivity that comes with judgment. And as we see that kind of thing more often and more aware of it, we can dispel the hold it has on us and open up to a wiser view, a bigger view of ourselves. A number of us struggle not only with self-compassion, but with that inner critic, with how we judge ourselves. Some of us think we don't work hard enough. Some of us think we should have gotten recovery decades earlier. That's me. How come I didn't get it when I was 30? I already knew it was a problem. And struggle with that shame, what could have been, what should have been, so on and so on. As some of us may feel worthless at times or hopeless at others. Some of us struggle with depression or anxiety or with chronic medical conditions that can undermine our sense of well-being, our sense of wholeness. And self-compassion at its most basic level means treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would a friend or a pet. People who struggle with this concept, research shows, don't necessarily lack compassion toward others. Rather, they hold themselves to higher standards than they would expect of anybody else. And practicing self-compassion can be a surprisingly effective alternative to the crippling yet common habit of shame-laden self-criticism. Many of us, especially in early recovery, struggle with finding compassion with ourselves, for ourselves. Some of us struggle with shame, either early in the recovery process or at other points of our journey as well. I kept thinking I was done with my shame. I'm done with it. This happened. I'm totally done. I don't think I'm going to have it anymore. And boom, it comes back, but less and less so. Anyway, within our mindfulness practice itself lies the opportunity to practice self-compassion. Loving kindness meditation, or metta as it's called, is a powerful antidote to shame and self-judgment, self-criticism, and it is wonderful in cultivating self-compassion. There was one year, 2022, I left my job and I really just was doing mindfulness, and I was doing loving kindness meditations with a group maybe 3 times a week. That was the year I cried every single day, almost 20, like all day. I mean, I just cried at everything. I wasn't necessarily always sad, but I was crying. And I thought that was a huge healing year. Anyway, we also touched on crying, so I thought I'd throw that in there. So I thought a little loving kindness meditation with a little reconciliation and self-forgiveness thrown in would be fitting today. And so I think I gave you the definition of mindfulness, and that is the awareness that arises from paying attention on purpose in the present moment and without judgment. So inviting you all to find a position that is both comfortable and supports wakefulness, whether you're sitting, lying down, or even standing. You can keep your eyes open or shut, whatever you prefer. And just giving us all a few moments to settle into our positions. And we're just focusing on how our body is positioned here in space. And inviting you to take 2 or 3 slow, deep breaths on your own. Just settling in. And inviting you to allow your awareness to rest on a sense of the body, of how the body is positioned here in space, of how it is grounded. Maybe feeling your back touching the back of the chair, and your thighs resting on the seat of the chair. Maybe feeling your feet on the ground, the air on your skin. Just noticing any feeling sensations in your body. And now inviting you to shift your awareness to your breath, bringing your awareness to the breath going in and then the breath going out. You may feel your breath, the nostrils, with the air moving in and out, cool or warm, moist or dry. Or then again, you may feel your breath within your belly rising with the in-breath and deflating with the out-breath. Or then again, you may feel your breath filling your lungs, with your chest rising and falling. So just settling into wherever you're most comfortable feeling your breath, or perhaps where your breath is most vivid. And the important thing to remember is that this is not doing, it's just being. And we're focusing at the moment on the felt sense of the body. in whatever position it's in, and the breath moving in and moving out. And now inviting you to bring your attention to your chest, because that is where the vital organs are, the organs of respiration, of our breath, our very life, and the organs of circulation, our heart, which we often associate with love and tenderness and caring. Inviting you to join me in this short reflection that may support us in understanding the importance of compassion, forgiveness, reconciliation. For life will not go on forever. And if there are things that are left unsaid, things that need to be resolved, perhaps they can begin now. Beginning with the time that we've been hard on ourselves. Beginning to see this with our growing awareness, we can begin to understand the conditioning that may have led to this unkindness, the feelings of unworthiness, the lack of self-confidence, the self-judging, the shame. Beginning to make peace with ourselves, make peace with these stories, these narratives that we're identified with, and recognizing that this is not all of me, and no longer wanting to be held hostage in this prison of my own unworthiness, of who I could have been or who I should have been, and making peace with it. Making peace, and beginning this gesture of making peace with my own heart. And beginning to invite the process of reconciliation. And this making peace is not building narcissism, it is the opposite. It is building great kindness that includes ourselves. Beginning to make peace with the times that I've been hard on myself. Perhaps a greater understanding that due to my upbringing, my conditioning, that these stories of my own inadequacy or unworthiness, with awareness, with growing awareness, we can see that we are more than these identifications and beginning to reconcile, making peace with our own hearts. Everything I've done in my life has led me to this moment, making peace with the times I've been hard on myself. And now inviting you to gradually begin to open up this making peace and beginning to include those that we may have hurt, that I may have hurt due to my own unawareness or fears or trying to protect myself. I've hurt another. and beginning to do the work of reconciliation for the times that I have hurt another, and bringing some acknowledgement to that. And what will I do about it once I understand it? To take ownership, to try not to do it again, and begin to pay it back. Making peace with the times that I have hurt another. And as we sit with this, there may be different instances that may be painful to remember, but just making peace, honoring that time when we've hurt another, what you may have been living with, the pain, the loneliness, the exhaustion, whatever it was, and beginning to reconcile, and beginning to forgive ourselves for the times that we may have hurt another, and try not to repeat it the best we can. And then letting our awareness expand to the times that maybe others have hurt me. Acknowledging perhaps the resentments, the grudges, the pain. And perhaps just as we begin to understand the times that I have hurt another, coming from my own unawareness, my own fears, my own woundedness, when the times they hurt me may have come from their own unawareness, their fears, their woundedness, just like me. And although it may not excuse their action, perhaps it brings some understanding, and also perhaps begins to neutralize any harboring of resentments or grudges, because it is so painful to continue to feed them, to carry them on. Making peace, reconciling, perhaps making amends, even to those who have hurt me. It may be painful to remember, but being gentle with yourself, kind and curious, and beginning to also reconcile this harboring of resentments that are too heavy of a burden to continue to carry. Making peace with those who have hurt me, just as I have hurt another, others have hurt me, all from unawareness. Making peace. Inviting you all to rest in this peace momentarily. Nothing you have to get, nothing you have to push away. Just resting into it. Breathing, imperfect as we all are. And just resting in this heart of loving kindness, in this here and now, in this making peace, experiencing peace. Now let us offer ourselves an intention of loving kindness. May I be safe. May I be healthy and well. May I be peaceful. May I meet my life with ease. May I be safe. May I be healthy and well. May I be content. May I meet my life with ease. And now perhaps offering this intention of loving kindness towards each other, towards all of us here in this virtual room. May we be safe. May we all be healthy and well. May we be peaceful. May we meet our lives with ease. And repeating to yourselves a couple more times silently. Now perhaps taking a couple more deep breaths on your own, perhaps feeling a sense of groundedness, sensing into the fullness of the body as you breathe, and maybe seeing if you can bring this sense of caring and curiosity with us into our experience for the rest of the day. And bringing this sense of caring, compassion, and curiosity to the relationship with ourselves. And now as I bring us all to a close of this little meditation, inviting you, if and when you're ready, if you've had your eyes closed, to open them. Allowing yourself to come back into this virtual room. Turn your cameras back on. And give yourself some time to shift around in your chair, stretch, shake your body out, whatever you need to do. And then seeing if you can bring a sense of spaciousness, if you experienced any, into whatever comes next for you throughout the day. So even though I ring this medicine bowl to signal it's the end of this meditation, any moment is a good moment to be mindful and present. So that was my little mindfulness talk, and I'm open to comments, questions, and I also wanted to make a correction. I just want to make a correction because mindfulness really, there's no guarantee of relaxation. Sometimes mindfulness is like, no, because mindful with the awareness, it's not necessarily going to result in relaxation, although it might. It very well, I can relax, I can get blissful, but there's a lot of times in a mindfulness practice where you're sitting with a lot of discomfort, uncomfortable. And for me, one of the most, there's so many things that I've gotten out of this practice over the years. And one of the major ones in terms of, in relationship to recovery, is the practice of becoming more comfortable with being uncomfortable and not trying to fix it, run away from it, stuff it or disappear in some way, and so that I just wanted to mention that.
Eva, first of all, thank you. And I want to thank you also for tying it in so beautifully with what we've been talking about today. You brought forward compassion, forgiveness, and reconciliation and talk. Your opening statement was, or your opening statement, sorry. That's
You're welcome.
conditioning. Your opening comments and the way that you addressed us in the beginning was really impactful, and I want to thank you so much, and also tailoring it to what the goals were for this meeting, so thank you.
Mhm.
And you always amaze me that it gets better every year, so thank you so much. I always look forward to this, and I think my hair belies the fact that I was like this the most of the time, but that is exactly what I needed, so thank you. I feel so rejuvenated.
But now relaxed. Now you're
I,
probably relaxed.
I've given up that a long time ago.
I'm just joking.
I know, I got you. I
Yeah,
got
yeah,
you.
yeah.
But yeah, thank
Can
you.
I second what Sue said? Because last year I remember I felt so, I don't know, at peace or whatever. Maybe I fell asleep in the
I
meditation. I didn't
remember
hear
that.
the
I
end of
know.
it.
Yeah,
I thought
which
I
is
felt so
great.
bad,
Yeah,
but
no,
I guess that's what I needed that day. And so you're really spot on about telling us that, or making us experience what we need to, which is like, letting things go and having peace with where we are today, because that's where we are. Thank you.
thank you.